Mark Sanchez, Fox Sports NFL analyst, is joining us today, as he is customary to do on a. So you got Seahawks Commanders. So we were talking about this yesterday. Yesterday, I thought was going to be a dog of a day. And all the games were great except the game I thought was going to be great, San Francisco, Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You got a great one. So I want to talk about Seattle Commanders real quick.
Yeah.
So my take is Washington's going to hire an offensive coach. I think Sam Howell deserves another year. There's something there with him. What is it?
There's absolutely something there. I think he's decisive. I think because he has so much time and experience with the position and reps in college, you can tell he's a little bit accelerated and I know he's not a rookie, but he's in his 11th start. So you kind of consider him a rookie, right?
Right.
So you just judge him by that lens, number one. And for his position, he knows when a guy's open, when he's not, and when to get out of trouble.
Yeah.
Is he making, those next level kind of decisions at the line of scrimmage consistently? I wouldn't say that. Meaning getting us out of bad plays consistently, feeling pressure, knowing when it's all out pressure and inviting that pressure, beating it with a throw because he knew it, or is he reacting? I think he's more reacting right now. I think he can get to a point where the Mahomes, the Bradys, the Breezes, it's, oh, wait a second. You guys are going to pressure me? Okay, watch this. Hey, tight end, come block this guy. Boom. Touchdown, done.
Right.
Don't ever do that.
That's
You're almost looking at the D coordinator like, don't do that anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're going to get embarrassed out here. He's not there, obviously, not yet. But he has this ability off script, and you've seen it with Mahomes. I'm not comparing the two players talent-wise. I'm just saying when in that offense, because it's a West Coast-based system, it's timing, it's your footwork, all that. There's a specific time clock. And when that time clock is up based on the rush or the coverage, boom, I got to move. And these guys are masters of scramble drill. They work it a ton in the West Coast system. What do we do? So it's not just street ball. These guys know, they have an idea. If the quarterback runs this way, we have an idea of where our routes break off to. And so you can tell they've done plenty of that. But he's still growing. He's still maturing. And that was a really tough defense he played against yesterday with multiple looks. You could tell he was spinning a little bit. When one or two was open, boom, the kid's money. And that's all you can ask for at his stage of growth. When things got a little muddy, he had to move around quite a bit instead of stay in that pocket, hang in that pocket. But you're proud of his effort. I mean, he essentially won the game. You know what I mean? No. The defense tightens down at the end.
Yes.
And it's over. And he did that in a tough environment. First drive of the game, scrambles, throws a huge play up the sideline to Robinson, who's a check down, an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like, he's really good on the move. So there's something to him. He's still developing, but he played incredible yesterday.
Okay, I want to go C.J. Stroud. So Cincinnati, if Boyd doesn't drop the ball in the end zone, maybe Cincinnati wins. So I thought Burrow and Herbert played brilliant games, but you don't have to win every week.
Doesn't always work.
But you got to show me some things. You can't gag Mac Jones. You can't just make that play. C.J. Stroud is fascinating because you well know this. There is a big difference between playing with a lead, playing with a run game, playing at home, or playing Burrow on the road trailing. His trailing numbers are like Brady in his prime. Yeah. Is it innate? Is it coaching? What is it? It's way better than it should be.
I think some of that is personality-based. I think some of that is his innate ability that you've mentioned. But some guys just have this ability to turn it on when the stakes get higher. When the pressure rises, their heartbeat is just steady, and then they turn into this mode of just, okay, fourth quarter time, like, whew, let's
and both Burrow
pull
and
up
Stroud
the tube socks, let's rock.
Right.
Like, it's time to go. And they don't do anything different. It's just they hone into their mechanics. Their footwork's solid. Their eyes are so clean and so steady. They're not bouncing around. You can watch their eye placement and the way their helmet moves. We talk about watching the stripe on guys' helmet. When it's crunch time, the really good ones are steady, and it's just boom, 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 slight movement, and deliver the football. He's having the kind of rookie year that we haven't seen since Dak Prescott. Their numbers are almost identical, even when trailing. Dak had a better completion percentage, but C.J. Stroud's throwing the ball probably I think he has like 38 more attempts or something on the year, throws-wise. So through 9 starts, their rookie years, he has 38 more attempts. That's a whole game. 38 attempts, that's like almost a game.
The Cowboys also had the best O-line in the league.
Exactly right. So this guy's moving around more, and the same thing for Dak. He was 8-1 through 9 games because of the complete team around him. C.J. Stroud is, they lost 4 or 5 games, whatever they are.
Yeah.
So this is a really good comp on where he can go. But you saw in those crunch times, Dak's rookie year, he made plays to win those games, to ice those games. He had to hit big throws, and C.J. Stroud's doing the same thing. He gets streaky, he gets hot, and at the end, he knows when it's crunch time and knows when to deliver.
I said this. I have defended coaches on the hot seat. I have defended the Sarks, the Lane Kiffins.
Sure.
I don't want to see coaches get whacked. But there is a difference. One of the first things I look for is, do you own your side of the ball? Lincoln Riley's offense is fine. They can't get the defense right. There's promise there. Nick Saban very early at Bama lost to Louisiana Monroe. But the defense very quickly got good.
Sure.
The Chargers defense, I don't see improvement. I see players like Derwin James still make mistakes. I'm like, Derwin, you're better than that. I don't see improvement in players. They have 3 pass rushers. You do get to a point with me is I'm watching teams that are like the Jets that are toxic at quarterback. Mm-hmm. Interim coaches in the Raiders. This team is too good to be 4-5. I'm not trying to run guys out, but Mark, at some point, don't you lose players?
Well, I think the issue was they started to feel a little better after their last 2 games, right? And they played the Bears and they played the Jets in primetime. And both of those offenses are, bottom of the league. So this defense was looking and feeling a lot better. Now you go toe-to-toe with, an NFC North team that's pretty strong in the Lions. I mean, that's a real offense, and they're going to keep coming at you, where eventually you overpower the Bears and the Jets this year on offense, right? They don't have the horses to run the full race, the full length of 60 minutes of that game, and you just overpower them. But these guys kept coming back, and it went back and forth, back and forth. Those are the kind of games where it's not just a scheme. It's one play. It's a tip ball. It's a turnover. But this one turned into almost who's going to have the football last.
Oh, yeah.
And, holding them to consecutive field goals is how you win those games. Flipping the field position to milk the clock is how you win those games. And so if it's just going to be an all-out scoring fest, it makes it really hard. It puts pressure on everybody. But that's where somebody's got to make a play. And you have the playmakers to do it, right? It's Joey Bosa. It's, Khalil Mack.
Derwin James.
You got to make a play. Kendricks, we brought you over, big free agent signing. You got to make a play. Somebody affect this game and play that complementary football, flip the field and field position, get me a turnover, something. So, it's not like they were just completely out of position. It's not like, the defenses they're calling are just crazy defenses that don't make sense and the team walks up and down the field on them. They're in position. They just got to make some plays. It's an execution thing. And, they go to Green Bay this week. We have that game. That's another chance for them. An offense that's kind of middle of the road, might be struggling a little bit. Younger quarterback trying to figure it out in his first season starting with Jordan Love. There's a perfect opportunity for this defense to get back on track and align them for the rest of the season. But bottom line is they got to come up with some stops. They got to come up with some turnovers.
Yeah. There's so many different things to talk about today. I don't want to beat up on Zach Wilson, but I said this is the kind of the difference. There's two or three, forget traits, arm moving, all that stuff. There are 2 or 3 things to me that sort of define you got a franchise guy. One of them is, can you play trailing? That's really hard. Mm-hmm. Everybody's pinning their ears back. Herbert yesterday, trailing, tied. C.J. Stroud, Joe Burrow, those are great quarterbacks. The other thing is, and I know people will push back on this, but when you do something in life matters. They say the first 8 minutes of a date, she makes her mind up. You can't be bad in the first 8 minutes.
Makes a lot more sense now. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
So when it's Mac or Zach, Mac Jones, Zach, it's I need you late. I don't mind C.J. Stroud throw a pick in the third quarter. Boy, he's dialed in late. That's my thing on Zach, the timing. Okay,
my only thing is to keep this as fair as I can and not just apologize for quarterbacks, but to keep it an even playing field, the expectation for C.J. Stroud is so much lower than Zach, than Mac Jones because of their experience. So I think Mac Jones and Zach Wilson are on a similar plane of, okay, you guys should be able to win games. You should be able to get us out of problems. All the things I said about Sam Howell not being able to quite do yet because you're still working your way through it. Same with C.J. Stroud. Those guys kind of get a pass right now.
Right.
And you need more time on task. But these guys are in that mode of third, fourth year starting. It's like, okay, you got to do something for me. The problem is their margin for error. The margin for error in general in the NFL is very small. But when you're the Eagles, when you're the Chiefs, when you are, the San Francisco 49ers,
right,
your margin's a little bit larger. You can get away with the Brock Purdy interception. Cleveland can take you down to the wire with a couple interceptions from Brock Purdy and turnovers. The Jets and the Patriots are not built to play that way. You cannot give the ball up, no matter what. Like, it just can't happen.
Right.
Or it's so deflating to this team because they don't have guys that can overcome that right now. They don't have this roster that's just insanely good. And hey, man, we'll go figure it out. You know what I mean? That's no knock on them. That's just the way they're built. They have a formula to win, and they can't give it up. So the other thing I will say about Zach, the one thing in his defense yesterday, he plays in Vegas last night.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like a Cirque du Soleil show, some of these throws.
Yeah.
Jumping up, throwing left. I mean, these throws are elite. Elite. There aren't many. He looks a little bit more like Aaron Rodgers every game.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's crazy because he does this little jump throw and he's starting to hone it in. He really is. But then you miss on a basic read, and Spillane just jumps at 41. The linebacker just jumps it right underneath where you're throwing. So in the West Coast offense, there's your first wide vision. That's the clock. That's your alignment. That's where all the defensive players line up. That's your first read. That's the guy you're looking at. Your second wide vision is like this peripheral vision that they talk about. And that's how you avoid tipped balls and interceptions. And it's Zach's second wide vision. So I know who you're reading. I know who my target is. But what am I feeling out here? I'm looking at the camera, Colin, but I can see you right here. And I can see your momentum, boom, and I hold up on the throw and I dump it underneath. That's, to me, where Zach still has to graduate. It's second wide vision. That's like West Coast speak.
Yeah.
But you know the ones who have it. It helps you eliminate interceptions. And when it happens late like that, I mean, it was just a crushing blow. Even though they don't get points out of it, the defense stopped them.
That's right.
They gave you the ball back. So that was really too bad because of some of those. I mean, even the last throw of the game, most of the league can't get a quarterback to get that throw off, let alone land it where he did. I mean, he gives him a chance. He's given him a chance in some ways. And then in other ways, a couple of bonehead mistakes. So it's hard. It's frustrating. And you can feel it every time Robert Saleh, poor guy, gets in front of the podium. I mean, you're just like, oh, gosh, like you feel for the guy. So
yeah. Look at J-Mac. Look at that smile on your face.
What now?
I tried to tell him Zach was not the problem last night. He's
But
burying
I always
Zach
say,
Wilson.
he wasn't the problem. But you got to be the solution. Quarterbacks have to be the solution to problems.
That's tough.
Sanchez talked to me.
That's a tough
Help
one.
me out here. I mean,
that's a tough one. I mean, they were up against it. You know what your offense is. I just don't. You got to do a deep dive on their red zone because I don't know why they're not scoring.
They have one touchdown in 21 quarters.
That's what I'm.
One
but
touchdown pass.
Yeah, you get down there. They move the ball between the 20s. They have some of these explosive plays that I mentioned. The ball he threw to Lazard coming across the field when he's kind of rolling left and jumps and throws it. Like, some of these throws are insane. Like, you can't even do it with just you and the receiver on the field. A lot of guys would miss that throw with nobody else on the field, but let alone him getting thrown to the turf right after he cuts his ball loose. I mean, those throws are incredible. So I'd almost take a little bit less of that and a little more like dialed in the fourth quarter or in the red zone. You know what I mean? If you could,
of course.
Fill one bucket and empty out
Absolutely.
another bucket, that's not the way it works. But.
All right, some tape. Our
Oh, we
expert-
got good tape, Coach. Great tape.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.